And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the StarCraft Evolution League SCL week number 6, the final week before the full championship. I'm of course your live VIP with me. I'm joined by these amazing players, the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to your bi-weekly dose of StarCraft Evolution. StarCraft, again, welcome. This is a mod, of course. This is not the base game. This is not StarCraft 2. This is StarCraft Evolution. It is a merging, a melding of both StarCraft 2 and Brood War. Welcome one and all to the debut even of one of our players. Spawning in the right-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Polish Protoss player, the Red Protoss. He has never played this game mode before. He has not even played any custom games. Best of luck, as it is Gerald, the Streamer Zone. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg. Representing himself, also representing the Brood War Zerg race, it is Rumeith. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. Get your gambler going. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Rumeith, I would say, is coming in as the heavy favorite. Gerald is, of course, a very strong contender in the European region when it comes to Protoss and SC2. But what about StarCraft Evolution? That is the thing. Again, he has never played this game mode before. I'm sure he has watched. I'm sure he has tuned in. I'm sure he is somewhat aware of the game mode. But when it comes to playing it firsthand, that is something that Gerald is unfamiliar with. So he's going to have to try to play on the fly. Learn on the fly, even. But now, we do see him just being as annoying as possible, just trying to force him into efficient mining. We just see Rumeith going hatch first, hatch gas pool, standard opener out of our Brood War Zerg player. Meanwhile, Gerald doing the same, just going for a gate expand. So far, just a standard build standard opener. Wouldn't be surprised if Gerald were to open up and go into something like a Stargate, into Oracle, into Harass in the early game. But we'll see if he can contend against the early Hydra production of Rumeith. Oh boy. For those that are curious, the go-to composition of this matchup is typically laying a Hydra into Lurker from the side of Brood War Zerg, and the reason why I say early Hydra is because the Hydra Den does not require a lair. A lair is not required. A hatchery is all you need. Lurker tech is lair tech, true, that is true, but Hydra tech is hatch tech. So typically you do go early Hydras here when it comes to the Brutal race. Meanwhile, the purpose of being annoying is going to be soon away. Yep, second gas already being taken very quickly. What do you do with extra gas? I mean, you can go into an earlier lair or again into earlier Hydra Den. So Rumeith, he's just working through his build. Again, Rumeith is very experienced. He's one of the stronger Zerg players in StarCraft Evolution. I would say Rumeith is top 3. When I think of the top Zerg players, I think of Shin, I think of 3 Point, and then I think of Rumeith right behind them. And there it is. There's that Hydra Den. Hydra Den is on the way. Meanwhile, across the map, we do have Gerald just getting into his own Stargate opener, as we did mention. But again, Stargate play, how effective is it going to be here against these early Hydras? Bearing in mind that a big reason why Hydras are hatch tech is no queens, right? There's no queens to defend. Spore crawlers are also stationary. They do not uproot. They cannot re-burrow. So spores are also, in some sense, less mobile, less effective. Meanwhile, the Adept does arrive. One drone goes down. Already some good damage dealt here by Gerald to the workers that have been pulled away. And Hydras, they're in production. But they need a couple more seconds. To pop out. Oh, another drone will fall. Yeah, nice pick up. 2 workers do get picked up here. Can we get a third? Oh, can we get a fourth? Uh-oh. There we go. Do have the Spore Trick to save that final drone, but that's still 3 worker kills. Hydras, they have arrived. They will zone away the Adepts, but that is still a good amount of damage, and the Adept is still alive. Still busting into the main, getting another drone. 4 drone kills already. Very nice damage, getting almost up to 5. Oh, 5 drones? 6? 7? Oh my god, this is too much. This is just far too much at this point. Punishing Rumeith for not making any lings. And 0 ling production, 8 drone kills. That is insane. And Gerald isn't done. He's moving out with an Oracle as well. Moving out with an Oracle towards that third. No spore colonies in position. Just 1 here at the natural, and even then is a creep colony. But Rumeith, he doesn't care. He's moving out across the map. He's rallying every single Hydra here to break the natural. There's nothing to kill. There's no drones. Ooh, they do transfer over. Workers now saturating. Hydra's going for the Cyber Core. Warp Gate is not done. Uh-oh. Warp Gate is barely not done. And this is the purpose of the fast Hydra Den. This is why there's no ling speed. This is why there's no lings. Pure Hydra will knock down the Cyber Core. Oh, there's the overcharge. Overcharge just in time. Void Ray has arrived. It can be focused down out of range of the overcharge. Ooh, Void Ray falls. 5 more drones go down across the map to the Oracle. And it looks like Warp Gate can finish. It's going to be close. It might not, actually. Overcharge runs out. Shield batteries are on the way, but it looks like the cyber core is about to go down, and warp gate is denied. Massive pickup. Oh my god. Warp gate is denied. That means, oh, no reinforcements. You have to make units one at a time. The boys are being pulled. There's one Stalker, there's one Adept. It looks like Rumeith has done it. Looks like he has broken the natural. Gerald, he's trying to stabilize. He's supply block. No, he's supply. Now breaking out. Losing all these probes. But the stun set micro is on point here for Rumeith. Getting 8 probe kills. Shield batteries are repowered. Some of the gateways as well, but the gateway goes down just in time. Void Ray's on the way, but against Mass Hydra, what's a Void Ray gonna do? Not much. As every single probe is going down. Rumeith again breaking that natural. There's one Stalker remaining. There's a backup gateway on the way behind the natural. Still in production. The one Stalker doing what it can. Void Ray has arrived. Trying to get within range of the... Oh no! There's the overcharge. Oh my god. The power of the overcharge. Gerald, he's holding. He's barely holding on. Behind this Rumeith, it's still just rallying across the map. Now droning. He's now making some workers. Now droning up. Has he done enough damage? That's the question. I mean, delaying warp gate is pretty huge, and he can still kill his opponents. It's still just 2 units. Overcharge now on cooldown. Does Rumeith have enough Hydras? Once again, the boys are being pulled away, actually. Oh, there we go. They used the buffer. Again, that kiting is going to be good enough. Ooh, takes down every single worker here at the natural base. Another Void Ray has arrived. Stalker goes down. 1 Void Ray left. Gerald, he's doing what he can with what little he has, but it's just 1 Void Ray. Dark Shrine on the way. Let's go. Unfortunately, Overlords are detectors. Overlords, I believe they are still detectors here in SC Evo for the Brood Lords of Grace, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit less effective. As Hydras, they commit here on top of the Void Ray. Not the best initial engagement. There's the overcharged Void Ray. Will win this fight. Hydras are going to have to back off. Waddling into the main. Nice around here. Hydras are cleaned up, but they get 18 probe kills. And again, behind this, Rumeith has been droning. He's been droning us. He's been saturating his bases. Settling into a longer game state. Macro hatch is on the way. Rumeith is getting supply blocked, and I mean, Gerald, he has potential for counterattack, that is true, but he's got a lot of work to do. He's got DTs, he's got Adepts, he's got Void Rays. Can they bring it all together? How many Hydras does it defend? Only 3. Uh-oh. Lurker tech is in production here, but only 3 Hydras. Yo, Gerald, he can pull this off. He can pull this off. Gets 1 Hydra. There's 2 left. Oh. Yeah, 2 remaining. Adepts they can commit. More Hydras on the way. 1 Hydra left. Down to 0. 0 Hydras. Now we have the DT on one side. We have Adepts on the other. Oof. Workers are going down. 1 Void Ray falls. Massive pickup. But again, Gerald, he's getting damage done. Unfortunately, Gerald, he's all in. He's trading well, but he needs more. He needs to get more done. Again, that 1 DT still is going to fall. Again, Overlords are all you need to detect. Void Ray goes out, Adepts are cleaned up, and Rumeith holds. It was a lot of chaos. It was not an efficient trade for Rumeith, but he does hold on. Does survive, still has a worker lead. Gerald is catching up. When the DTs, they do rotate around. And again, there's not much at home to defend. There is a Spine Crawler or a Sunken Colony here at the natural. So there is static defense. DTs, they split off. They get spotted. No Sunken Colony here at the third. Likewise, none in the main. Uh-oh. Yeah, drones are going down. Hydras, they race back home. Again, they should clean up at least 1 DT. Oh, I say that. Oh, he's getting away. Barely does get away. Meanwhile, the main, likewise cleaned up. Rumeith does defend, but he loses 7 drones, and Gerald, he's recovering. Now, the one downside for Gerald, even though the worker counts look similar, that is true. Like, Gerald, he's looking similar here when it comes to his economy. The downside, though, is the tech. What I mean by that, Lair is done. Gases are taken of Rumeith. He has Lurker tech. He can morph in Lurkers, and I don't think Gerald has the answer to Lurker. That's the problem here. Like that's the outcome of Gerald taking all that damage early on, is him falling behind tech-wise. Bay's on the way, that is true for Colossus and Disruptor. Stalkers, they can't really hold their own against this massive wave of Hydra. And Gerald, he has to buy time. He has to buy time for a Colossus or a Disruptor. Rumeith coming in for a surround. Let's go. He's coming in, but does come in from behind. Ooh, catches out the Stalkers. Yeah, one Stalker left. Now here comes the push. I mean, Rumeith does have Lurker tech, but it doesn't even need them. Just pure Hydra. I mean, at this point, again, there's barely an army here for Gerald. Doesn't really have much left over. Hydras, they hit the third. They force a cancel. Ooh, yeah, there we go. There's a cancel. Disruptors all the way. The first Disruptor will arrive. Never goes off, but won't quite connect. Zones the army back. And I mean, sure, Gerald, he was able to hold against the first wave, the first push, but here against the second, no shot. Robo gets depowered. Hydras, they bust into the mineral line. There's going to be one Nova in a couple of seconds, but not fast enough. GG. And Rumeith will take game number 1. Whew. GG. Let's go. I see I'm catching up in the chat. But yes, as we did mention, overlords, they are detectors. Overseers are not a thing in Brood War. There's no such thing as an overseer. So overlords are all that you need to detect. As we saw, despite that, I mean, there were times where there wasn't any attacking units in position to defend. So even if there was detection, like the DTs were still getting damage done. So it was impressive that Geralt was able to get as much damage as he did and survive as well. But again, it was an all-in. It was an all-in, and Geralt, he wasn't too familiar with it. I mentioned before, this is the first time that Geralt is playing this mod. This is the first time he's playing SC Evolution, so when it comes to reading builds and even being aware of army compositions, is something that Geralt's, I mean, over time a player would get used to, right? Over time a player would be more aware of and refine their builds. I'll be honest, Geralt, he played that out like a regular ZVP in StarCraft 2. That was like a regular ZVP build from Geralt. Did look just like something, you know, like a StarCraft 2 game, but he wasn't aware that a Hydra all-in was coming, and as a result was unprepared. Was unprepared for it. Despite that, I mean, he still had a really clutch hold. Like, remember, like he was barely holding on with his Void Rays with like 1 or 2 Stalkers. If he was able to get shield batteries earlier, then he would have saved the Cybercore. 100%. 100%. If you remember, the shield batteries were late, and the Cybercore was barely sniped in time before Warp Gate. Like, having Warp Gate would have made that defense far more easier for Geralt. But if you remember, it was denied, Cybercore went down, and he just couldn't reinforce. Which is why he held insanely well with like 2 units. With once, imagine if he had like 4. Like, imagine if he could warp in. Crazy. But here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the typically Protoss player, but now he is the Brood War Terran, the Polish Terran. It is Gerald. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg. Ooh. Once again, now going to be playing StarCraft 2 Zerg. It is...
Paused.
Have a bit of a pause. All good. Get back into it. Hopefully everything's okay. I would not be surprised if Gerald is fixing hotkeys. I would not be surprised if he's just sorting out some hotkeys here, as I'm sure, again, he's still very unfamiliar with StarCraft Evolution. I see someone asking in the chat. I thought I saw him play before. I did ask him because I wasn't too certain, and Gerald did confirm that this is his first time playing. Yeah, there's the hotkey. Yeah. So Gerald did confirm that this is his first time playing, and here we go. We have the Korean Zerg player, Rumeith. Here we go. I do know there are some other Polish Protoss players that have played. I'm referring to Ziomek. Ziomek has played before. Also a Polish player from Poland. And maybe Rodzin. I know at least Ziomek for sure. Maybe Rodzin. Regardless, from here, is just going to be a standard opener by our Zerg player, Hatch Gas Pool by our StarCraft 2 Zerg. Meanwhile, I'm curious how our Brood War Terran player plays this out. I'm curious how much Gerald has played. I mean, clearly he didn't have his hockey set up, so so I don't know how much I expect, but that's also why I'm excited. You know, like I don't know where to place my expectations for Gerald's Brood War race, so I'm ready to be introduced to it. I'm ready to be excited and to see him pop off. I'm ready for it. But now single gas opener, so it's going to be a Rax expand for Gerald. Gerald does at least off-race quite a bit of Terran in StarCraft 2, so I mean, you know, maybe some of that will translate over. Again, I did mention that I'm sure Gerald does has watched some SC Evo in the past, which is what has, you know, given him some interest in playing and competing. And there it is, the Academy has been thrown down. So for those who are curious, for Brood War there are no add-ons, right? In a way, there's no add-ons. So there's no like Tech Lab for Stim. You do need the Academy instead for those bio upgrades to work towards Stim and everything else. Geralt is building up. Also, winding it back to the last game, I also want to praise Geralt for his unit control. Like, even though he wasn't aware of the build and the build of the all-in that was coming his way, remember, he killed, like, what was that, 8 drones with his first 2 adepts? Like, and then to follow up 5 drones with the Oracle? Like, he crippled the economy of Rumeith very well with his initial unit control and with his initial build. Again, it was just a follow-up that he wasn't too familiar with. And with that, we're settling in. Now that the Academy is done, that does mean that you can morph in Fire Bats. So we do have an initial Fire Bat here from Geralt. For those that are curious how Bio works against Ling Bane SC2, we do see a lot of Marine Medevac Fire Bat. Fire Bats, they do an amazing job at tanking. They also do splash damage as well. I would argue that they're probably better than Marauders when playing against Ling Bane, so they do have their place. But we don't see it too often just because we don't see Bio too often against StarCraft 2 Zerg. I mean, we don't see much StarCraft 2 Zerg, period, I'll be honest. If you've been watching StarCraft Evolution, you would know that the most prolific Zerg player in StarCraft Evolution is 3Point, and 3Point, whenever he can, he plays Brood War Zerg. He often avoids playing StarCraft 2 Zerg. Often does pick Brood War instead. Lings are moving out. You see Geralt just fortifying his forces, just building up back at home, consolidating his army. Additional Fire Bats. And getting into the rest of his Raxes as well. Now what I find interesting is that, okay, Stim is done. Stim has completed even. Geralt is already moving out. Bold move. I mean, Stim is done, he has the 1 medic, but Rumeith behind this, he's not playing Ling Bane, he's going to be getting into Roach play. Roaches are already in production, just in time. Queens are amassing as well. Geralt is pushing in, but the Roaches, they will pop out, yeah, just in time for the push. They have arrived. They go for the Firebat goes down. He gets 1, he gets 2. And Geralt is going to be forced back. The plus side of this move out is that this did hit so much faster than something like a Hellbat all-in in StarCraft 2, but as we saw here, the Roaches, they were ready for this, they shut it down. If there weren't any Roaches, this could have done much more damage. But Rumeith does hold. And now he has momentum, and now Geralt's in trouble. Geralt, he is in trouble, he has to kite back. Medevac gets started down. Medic even gets started down. And behind this, no bunker. There is no bunker. There are no tanks either. There's no defensive setup. Without tanks, without bunkers, without any SimCity here, I'm worried. I'm worried for Geralt. So the Ravagers are morphing in. Rumeith, he's not droning. He's not droning up. He's going for a Ravager Ling all-in. He's going to be sending everything across the map to break this position. Firebat's on the way. Geralt, he does stim back. Other miles. Oh my god, they take down one of the Vultures. But the Lings are being cleaned up. The boys were pulled. A nice defense here, a nice cleanup here by Geralt. Very nicely done. Didn't lose any SCVs, or maybe lost 1. So very nice crisis management here by Geralt, losing the bare minimum. He does survive, but what comes next? That is what I'm concerned by, and that is what I'm also interested by here, as the factories are just now getting their own machine shops to try to work towards, I imagine, tank production and upgrades. I'm referring to spider mines or siege mode. I'm curious where Geralt takes this and what kind of composition he does commit to. We shall see. Behind this Rumeith, he backs off, he's droning, he's down in workers. Remember, Rumeith, he committed to an all-in to try to punish Gerald, and it didn't work. Did not work, so Gerald, he survives, he fortifies himself, he's building up. Got a random Wraith on the way. Let's go. That's a shunt to, like, hunt down Overlords, I guess. So he's moving out to hunt down those Overlords. Yeah, tank production has begun. I'm hoping that Geralt is aware that he would have to invest into siege mode. Again, I don't know how familiar Geralt is with the mod. Third CC's on the way. Wraith checks, no saturation here at the third. I mean, that is a tell. Rumeith, he is not making drones, he's making roaches. And that should be a sign here for Geralt to get ready back at home. As still no droning. Still nothing but roaches. Looks like Rumeith is going for a second all-in. Lings, they poke in at the front door. Ooh, now a gas is being taken. Now Rumeith is droning. These are late. These are late drones for Rumeith. He invested quite heavily into this roach army, and because Rumeith is now droning, it looks like Rumeith was expecting a move out and maybe expecting aggression, so he was getting ready for a counterattack. He only droned up somewhat though. He only saturated the gas geyser. Still no saturation here at the third, so Rumeith, it looks like it's still an all-in. Otherwise, there'd be drones here. So, still an all-in. Scans, they check the natural. There we go. The scan at the third should confirm. And Geralt should be aware. And I would love to see some bunkers. Not gonna lie. Did he research siege mode yet? I don't think he had. No, he has not. No. I mean, he doesn't have many tanks to begin with, so I guess that wouldn't be too impactful. But I do worry. We have some Goliaths on the way. I think we have a third Goliath as well. Yo, Gerald, he's mixing in a bit of everything. Like, okay, there we go. Now siege mode is in production. Now, what I'm worried about here is that Gerald, he didn't research spider mines. So, despite having all these vultures, spider mines would be actually really good. A really good setup here to defend. But he never researched it. Now he's working towards siege mode for his tanks. I'm loving the random Goliaths. Let's go. And Rumeith, he backs off. He sees the army. Rumeith, he doesn't like his chances. Now he drones. And now I have to give the edge to Geralt. I have to. Just because, again, this droning from Rumeith is so late. It's just such late saturation for the Zerg player. Rumeith, a little bit indecisive with how he wanted to approach this. You know what it is? The Goliath scared him. It's like, this guy's crazy. What's going on? As Geralt is pushing forward, siege mode has completed. Now Rumeith up against the wall. Can Geralt break through? Yeah, I mean, there's not many Ravagers. They're coming in for a surround. They're coming in for a flank. One tank goes down. And it looks like Rumeith may just barely have enough. Yeah, he takes down both tanks. Gets on top of the third tank as well. All three tanks go down. And Geralt, he has to back up. He was hoping for a better fight. The concave did help so much there for Rumeith. The pseudo surround. Oh, and Geralt, he's losing almost everything here. Oof. Another reinforcing tank, and another. And both tanks fall. Rumeith, he holds. And that was the plus side of Rumeith not droning for so long, is that Rumeith had a massive army, right? Like, he was setting up for an all-in that he didn't commit to, but he had a massive army anyway, so he was ready for a fight. Now droning up towards the end, taking up into Hive Tech. Ultra Caverns on the way. But Rumeith at this point might just be able to keep on pushing. Might just keep on going from here. This is also where I have to question Geralt for moving out, because remember, he's scanned, he saw the lack of droning, which should have been a sign for Geralt not to push, because, I mean, that would have told him that Lava, of course, was being spent on an army, not on an economy. Geralt, he could have taken it slow from there, but last he committed to a fight, and, I mean, we see the outcome of that. Geralt, he's now stuck on 2 bases, mining out his main. And Rumeith is free to drone, free to take bases, free to tech. We do have all the Hive upgrades on the way, Adrenal, Ultra Cavern. Rumeith can just chill and max out. Like, there's no reason for Rumeith to push into the natural. And I mean, you wouldn't want to, into all these tanks. But there's no reason to push in. He can just chill out, back up, and max. And Rumeith just has to wait for his opponent to expand and take a third. Speaking of, third base now being taken, drop load into the main. Going for a road drop, going for the tanks. Ooh, won't quite get them though. Nice pick up. Gerald does defend. Rumeith, he does see the CC. Gerald, he's double expanding, getting his third and fourth at the same time. He does desperately need at least one of these bases fully operational. Does need one. Just being knocked down. They're basically saturated. You can see how heavily oversaturated Geralt is. But he's expanding. I would have liked to have seen Rumeith drone up harder. You can see Rumeith, he's on 71 drones. I feel like you could have gone up to 80 at this point, and then just embrace ultra production. But Rumeith isn't quite there yet. Ultras are on the way, don't get me wrong. But Rumeith is still building up, going for more dropper lords. Meanwhile, Geralt, he is now setting up there. This is a Terran setup. We got tank lines. Now we have finally some bunkers on the way as well. I would have liked to have seen this set up earlier, and just more defensive play from Geralt. Now he's forced into it. Here we go, Rumeith dropping into the main. Those high ground tanks are exposed. Big tank polish here, but it's also forcing friendly fire. High ground tanks going down. Ultras pushed into a choke point. Ultras will be cleaned up. Not a bad concave here out of Geralt on the Biles. Oh my god, they say, oh, 3 tanks! 3 tanks go down to the Biles. Ay, ay, ay. And Geralt holds, but that was a costly hold. A lot of tanks went down. It was the 3 tanks that we saw get biled. It was 2 tanks on the high ground. Rumeith, he rotates over. Denies mining at the 4th. Doesn't kill too many SCVs. Gerald is still on 67 workers. With Rumeith, he can back off. Now he's up to 80 workers. Now he can focus on just remaxing. His goal here, just remax, rebuild, and just keep pushing forward, keep trying to break the 3rd and 4th over and over and over again, and eventually just overwhelm Geralt. That is going to be the plan. Geralt getting into some science vessel production. Of course, can get into Irradiate. That will help against the, all things Zerg. All the bio units. Ultra drop, let's go. Got the quadruple ultra drop making its way in. Tanks are on siege. Lings, they flood in. Ooh, and they get a full surround. So many tanks go down. Yeah. I think 1 tank out of the 5 was siege. Not like this. Ultras, they break through. And it looks like Rumeith has done it. GG, good luck, it's called. And Rumeith will take game number 2 and the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Rumeith for taking the series and for taking the 2-0, but a shout out to Gerald because again, this was his first time competing, his first time playing the StarCraft Evolution mod. There is some pretty tough competition, especially this far into the lifespan of StarCraft Evolution. Now we have these kind of more established players and established meta, established builds, so kind of jumping in head first from the side of Geralt is not an easy thing to do, but we did appreciate it nonetheless. And again, like, he still, of course, his skills from SC2 still did translate over to SC Evo, but when it comes to some other things, some other strategic knowledge, or even just build orders and compositions and timings, something like that is still something that has to be learned over time, just by experiencing and practicing and taking part in these events and in custom games and in practice and all that stuff. Regardless, GG well played. Shout out to Geralt and congratulations to Rumeith. Congratulations. And with that, Rumeith will advance on to the next round, and the question becomes, who faces off against him? Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back yourselves. Let's switch our scenes over and have a gander at the round of 16. Let's go. Do we have any other?